Hey,
We saw Beauty and the Beast.
we did. That's why I'm turning into a rabbit. We did see Beauty and the Beast.
What did you think?
I don't know. You go first.
Oh, that's hard. Well, I thought it was fine. It was exactly like the cartoon, except live action. They changed some stuff, but all the stuff they changed I was fine with. They added some songs that were still Ellen Menken and Tim Rice and the other guy. I thought it was really well casted. I feel like the main argument against this movie is why would they need to remake this movie? But my argument to that is why do anything? We fuck around and then we die. And if you're gonna, fuck around, why not make this movie? Because it was pretty and it kept me entertained and the singing bits were good. I've got some nitpicks, but I feel like we can address those as soon as we've talked about what's your opinion. Because I like legit no idea whether you and Laura like this movie or not.
From the comments that she and I made afterwards, it sounded like we were kind of on the same boat. Maybe. This is not a bad film at all. It's also not really the kind of remake I like. Mm-hmm. And every time I saw a trailer for this movie, I came away from the trailers with the same thing, which was, I don't know why this exists. Now, yes, adaptations exist all the time, and yeah, many of them I like. We get several adaptations a year. Mm-hmm. For me, there's a difference in something that this is an adaptation of something, and maybe it's got a different voice, or maybe it's going in a different angle, or maybe it's a sequel or just an update or something like that. For me, there's a difference between all of that and what is essentially a shot-for-shot remake.
Oh, I disagree. They changed a bunch of stuff.
Not enough for me, honestly. Not enough for me to ever really sit there and think, I'm glad this exists, I'm glad I'm watching it. This whole time, I wasn't sitting there thinking this was a bad movie, but I was also sitting there thinking, I don't know why this is happening. I'm constantly thinking about the original movie. I do love the original movie a lot. And I was thinking back a lot to this movie isn't that bad, this bad, but I was thinking about Gus Van Sant's Psycho. Okay. This movie is not as bad as that, because that movie would be bad regardless of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho existing. And that more or less is a shot-for-shot remake, aside from a few things. This movie, I was looking at it thinking, if I hadn't seen the original as many times as I've seen it, which is a lot, because I do love the original, and if I hadn't seen it, or if it just didn't exist, I probably would really love this movie, because it is well made. The casting is good. The acting's good. I did laugh here and there in the movie, but I don't know. There was just something about how close it is to the original movie that made me feel that made it feel slightly cynical in a way, because there wasn't enough differences for me. And whenever there kind of was, it sort of stopped the movie dead to me a little bit. I don't think this is a bad movie. It's just not the kind of remake that I really like all that much. So that was my feeling towards it.
For me, the parts that were shot for shot,
yeah,
I enjoyed, because I've seen the original dozens of times. So
yeah.
Kind of mouth along with the dialogue, But the parts that they changed were I feel updates to areas of the original that may not have aged particularly well. I think that in this they gave the character Belle a lot more agency of her own volition. Little things like her tricking her dad into leaving, and making several decisions for herself, and they added some depth to the character, and it wasn't just her. They added depth to the Gaston character. He was almost fairly sympathetic at the beginning until he went kind of off the rails. They gave him a backstory. He's a captain that fought in the war, probably had some degree of PTSD because there's some points where LeFou was talking him down. They gave LeFou some depth of character. He wasn't just some floppy nitwit.
No, they did do that. I mean, they did certainly do that. But there was little updates like that to Gaston, but it wasn't like they were adding little things to a character that was two-dimensional in a previous film.
What, are you kidding me?
I didn't think so at all. Gaston, yeah, he was the villain. He absolutely was. But
what third dimension did he have in the original?
Chest hair.
Okay, expectoration.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't think they added really that much dimensions to him in this. Like, maybe a couple of lines here and there. Nothing that I noticed. Hell, I didn't even think about that until you just told me about it with the whole captain thing. I didn't realize that wasn't in the original, honestly. I didn't.
And again, so that was a change that they made that
but I didn't
stop
notice
you dead
it.
in your tracks. I think that means they did it well.
It's one line. That's one thing that went just kind of over my head. Whenever something that kind of was happening in it, like maybe a new musical number or something like that, it wasn't like I was sitting there hating it. Not at all. But I just didn't.
They added a bunch of different new songs.
Yeah, they did, and I could easily tell the difference between the older ones and these
because you didn't know the words to the new ones.
No, because the older ones were a lot better and a lot catchier. I honestly can't really remember how a lot of the newer ones went. Sitting here talking about it,
the newer ones weren't as. The newer ones I felt were a little more like in the style of a classic musical, rather than of a Disney musical. But I mean, like I could keep going for the stuff that they changed. I disagree with you, I guess.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are gonna like this movie, and I can see why.
That's fine. Yeah, it's subjective. I think for me, the main disagreement is that they didn't change stuff, and the stuff that they changed was stuck out like a sore thumb.
They did. It just wasn't that.
I just don't agree
much.
with. I think that they changed a lot. It was just subtle.
I guess. Like, I would rather them do. Like, honestly, I just don't like this trend. I don't. I don't like this trend of practically making the same movie again. But live action. But even then, like 70% of this movie's CGI anyway. So. I don't care if some parts of it are live action or not. Hell, I honestly dislike this trend more than I disliked the direct-to-video Disney sequels. I do, because at least...
I don't care, it's fine.
At least those, like, one went direct-to-video, so who cares? But also, I don't know, those at least tried having different storylines and things going on. I think you could take something...
God, this whole backstory about her mom?
Oh, that was...
Beast had a whole backstory with his family.
The stuff with the mom, that was good. I did like that.
It's like a whole big reveal. I mean, like I said, LeFou is an actual person, and they kind of, expounded on his relationship with Gaston. I was a little worried it was going to be like... just that he had a crush on him, because LeFou's supposed to be like the first gay character in a Disney movie, but it wasn't. It was more of like a hero worship, and I liked that.
I think you can make an adaptation and through make something that feels different, as opposed to I'm watching something and here's about 20 minutes of deleted scenes they added.
I think that Disney's bread and butter is making stuff that feels familiar.
Well, yeah, but you can do that without more or less just making the same movie again.
I don't think they did make the same movie. They changed a lot of stuff.
It is the same movie, just with about 20 minutes of extra stuff in it.
Yeah, if I can watch Spider-Man turn into Spider-Man fucking 3 different times over the last decade, I can watch a new Beauty and the Beast where they actually stick some fucking black people into it and give these characters likable backstories.
Certainly, but Spider-Man Homecoming is not going to be the same script of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
It might as well have been for all I can remember of it.
That's the one that hasn't come out yet.
Okay, well, because there's Tobey Maguire.
There's the 3 Tobey Maguire
Andrew
ones.
Garfield.
There was Andrew Garfield, yeah.
There's the new one that's the good one, apparently.
I don't know. I don't know what the reviews of that are. I
think there's like another one.
Well, he was in Civil War. Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, that's the new one. That's the good one.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a Spider-Man movie.
But they like him because he's like the Spider-Man-iest Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was great in that.
Yeah. So that doesn't bug you?
It's not the same script as Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, just with
This wasn't the same script either.
It really was.
There were a lot of the same lines because
and
again,
a lot of the same songs.
It's a children's movie, and they were trying to pull in children and people who love the original.
And that's great, but it is the same movie, just with a few extra things.
As far as I'm concerned, the Spider-Mans are all the same movie.
Not literally. Like, yeah, it's
but
about
figuratively.
Okay, take Batman for instance. You think Batman is the same movie as Batman and Robin? Or Batman and Robin's the same movie as...
But, I mean, if there were 3 different movies where we watched Batman become Batman in the exact same frickin' way...
Oh, an origin story? Oh, I'll give that to you. Yeah, absolutely. Like, just something that's an origin story again? Oh, I agree with that. Like, that's... Granted, even in an origin story, you can do things differently with it. Yeah. Certainly.
Give LeFou a backstory.
It's the... You know what? You're right. Like, okay, if you wanted to make, like, a Gaston and LeFou movie, fine, sure, I would be all for that, because they were my favorite parts of this movie. They're my favorite parts of the original one, too, so of course they're my favorite parts of this movie. But no, I agree that, like, an origin story is... you know, whatever. But even then, I mean, you can still kind of do some different things with it. Like, thank God the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out is not an origin story again. But yeah, that's, I don't know. That's how if you don't, look, if you don't have a problem with the same type of stuff that I have with a movie like this, yeah, you're gonna love this movie. If you're sold on the trailers for this movie, you're gonna love this movie. I wasn't sold on the trailers for it because I kind of had a feeling of the kind of movie it was gonna be, and yeah, that really is what happened in front of me. So with that being said, if you love the trailers, you're gonna like this movie. It's a well-made film, it's pretty and all that. The music in it, the stuff that they redo from the original, is still really good. It is. I just don't care. I would just rather watch. I just don't. I really don't. If there was something inherently wrong with the original, that'd be one thing. Hell, I really loved that Pizza Dragon movie that came out last year, which did do a lot of different things from the original. It was that was definitely a different film than the original. The original one's not especially a great movie, whereas Beauty and the Beast, to me anyway, really is a great film, and and because of that, I don't know. I would just rather watch the original.
That's fine. I don't think that just because something's great means that you can never do it again.
No, that's true. That's absolutely true. But from where I'm coming at it is like, yeah, if something's great, certainly there can be something else. Like King Kong is a classic, and last week there was Kong Skull Island. Kong Skull Island.
Well, those are two. I feel like that's apples and oranges because those are 2 completely different movies.
No, yeah, they are. But I mean, what I mean by that is like, you can do this. There's been remakes of movies that are great all the time. But usually there's enough different things about it that, good or bad, will at least, I'll sit there and feel like, okay, whether I like this movie or not, I understand some stylistic differences they were making, or like the 1933 King Kong versus the one from 1976.
Sure.
They're both very different. They are. They both hit a lot of the same notes. So you go to the island, you get the monkey, it comes back and goes crazy. Yeah, they hit a lot of the same notes, but there's enough they're totally different movies. One's in 1933, one takes place in 76, one's got Charles Grodin getting stepped on by the end of the film. That one's great.
I feel like, okay, so like a really good musical, would have a run on Broadway or what have you. And then in 20 years, if they decided to do it again with like a different cast, maybe some updates for the parts that haven't aged well, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
No, because I don't really feel the same way about something on stage versus that I do a movie where that is where an original classic movie, that's the product right there. It's the movie, whereas I'm used to seeing a bunch of different performances of a stage play, certainly. So I
wouldn't want it to become the rule as far as movies are concerned, but
right.
like this had so much more different about it than if they had just like acted out Beauty and the Beast. Mm-hmm. And so that for me, I think it's fine.
No, the movie.
You don't have to care. I'm not trying to talk you into caring. Mm-hmm. I disagree that the only people that are going to like this movie are the ones that thought the trailer was pretty.
Well, I don't think that. Sure, there's going to be people who go see this movie who maybe didn't see the trailer who will probably like the movie. I don't think that's literally going to be the only people who like it. Because again, this is not a poorly made movie at all. It's not. It's going to go over good with audiences. The fear I have in that regard is we're going to get a lot more stuff like this. It's just they're redoing The Lion King, and is it going to be just the same movie that I saw back in the 90s?
I'm probably not going to like the remake of The Lion King, because I didn't like the remake of The Jungle Book, but I think that in my old age, people making stuff doesn't bug me as much as it used to, even if it's the same stuff as the stuff I used to like.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What if they remake Dumbo and take out the crows?
They are remaking Dumbo.
Are they taking out the crows?
I assume.
How dare they?
I assume they'll probably take out the crows. But,
they're integral to the plot.
The crows?
Yes.
Kinda. They give him his magic feather.
Yes.
Yeah.
And other things.
They
had the best song in the movie.
Mm-hmm. They technically are integral to the plot.
Technically a piece of them is integral to the plot.
And the confidence they give him.
Nope. Again, that's all the feather.
Magic feather? Yeah, I gotcha.
Really, they just pick on him for a good scene and a half.
Until, they learn their lesson. That's you know what? Tim Burton is making the Dumbo movie. And
so they're gonna be stripedy crows with like curly cues on the ends of their
they'll be dancing skeletons is what they're gonna be.
Sold.
I actually don't know if that's true or not, but Dumbo is actually my favorite of the Disney cartoons. I'm really not as mad I'm actually really not that upset about a new Dumbo, because with Tim Burton doing it, if it's bad, which it might be, if it's bad or if it's good, it's probably not going to be the same movie again with Tim Burton behind it. I mean, look at fucking Alice in Wonderland. Mm-hmm. That was a terrible... Look, I have my... This isn't my kind of...
Wonderland was the first of this kind of movie?
I guess it was.
And I don't really think of it that way, because that one was way different.
Yeah. And this is a lot better than that was. Like this particular kind of remake just really isn't my cup of tea, honestly. But look, this is far fucking better than Alice in Wonderland.
Did you see the Cinderella one?
No, I didn't. Irving saw it.
I wonder how much different that one was, because I didn't see Mouse 1 in those previews.
I don't know. Laura saw it. I didn't see that. I liked this better than I liked The Jungle Book. Mm-hmm. I did. I was more, even though I never sat there thinking like, boy, am I glad this is happening right now. Mm-hmm. I was still more entertained by this than I was The Jungle Book. I was still more invested in it than I was in that film. Also, I've seen Beauty and the Beast way more than I've seen The Jungle Book.
Yeah. Like, I've seen Robin Hood more than I've seen The Jungle Book.
Same
so
here.
I see, like, Baloo in it, and it's like, oh, okay.
You know what? If they do...
Why isn't he wearing clothes?
If they fucking do CGI Robin Hood...
Oodle-lolly.
Oodle-lolly, oodle-lolly. You know what? Fuck it. I'll be like... Alright, I kind of like this one.
You get Scarlett Johansson to voice the snake again.
Oh, God. Yeah. The fucking snake. They'll do... you know what? I don't know if I want them to do that. They'll do something stupid. They'll make Will Ferrell Prince John. I don't know if I like that. I'm just speculating. Oh, God.
See, yeah, I don't want that. Watch Robin Hood.
Same here. I definitely got... That was one of my favorites. I got that one at home.
I like Great Mouse Detective. I'll get around to that one eventually.
Did you ever see Roberto Benigni's Pinocchio?
No, I heard it's creepy as fuck.
That's the least of that movie's worries. That's like me saying this movie, the worst part was creepy Chip staring daggers at me like the snowman from Jack Frost.
Was adorable.
I was having PTSD flashbacks about Michael Keaton's creepy snowman from Jack Frost every time I looked in those dead glass eyes. No, Roberto Benigni did this fucking big budget Pinocchio movie. It's fucking terrible. Like it is creepy because he's like a 50-year-old man playing Pinocchio. But if you watch the dubbed version, it's even more hilarious because they just like Breckin Meyer dubs Roberto Benigni in the movie. I think Regis Philbin is in there somewhere and James Belushi. Cause sure. Wow, yeah, I highly recommend you see that.
I super don't wanna.
Oh, you will be so glad you saw that. See, that's why I'm not really being harsh on this in the sense that because again, like this isn't bad. I've seen what a terrible like remake like of something like that could do, like fucking Roberto Benigni's Pinocchio or Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. This isn't that. This movie's just not for me.
I will say that Emma Watson is not very good at lip syncing a singing voice.
I didn't notice that. Because
there's a certain degree to which when you're like mouthing along to a song that's being sung stridently, that you have to pretend that you're putting some effort into it. And so if you just like... It looks like you're mouthing over an ADR track.
Sure.
And that is exactly what it looked like. It was bugging the crap out of me.
Oh, that I didn't notice that very much. Did you like Luke Evans as Gaston?
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, he was.
It wasn't who I would have pictured in the role.
No, same here.
He did a great job.
Yeah, he did. He really did. I do like Luke Evans a lot, but he seems like he was probably like on a short list of people to play this part, and like a lot of people maybe said no, because Gaston's my favorite character from the original movie. So he's fine. Luke Evans is him and LeFou are still my favorite parts of this movie. But he's not who I ever would have pictured a live action Gaston. I would have thought more like John Hamm or Hugh Jackman or hell, like back in the day, like Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, I think Hugh Jackman might have been too short. Because they needed someone who had some height on Josh Gad, I thought. Because Hugh Jackman's a little fella, isn't he?
I don't think he is.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. Maybe they just made him look short when he's being Wolverine.
Maybe. I never noticed him being short. Every time I've seen him, he looks particularly tall.
But he can definitely sing. And I mean, like Kevin Kline did a really good job.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they gave him a song, because you don't have Kevin Kline in a movie and you don't let him sing. But I really liked Josh Gad in that role.
Yeah, he was good.
I really like Josh Gad. Like, he does it for me in a weird way. And so I just, whenever he's in something, I'm like, okay.
Josh Gad?
Yeah.
I don't like him in everything. In fact,
I didn't like that thing with him and Kevin Hart, but I was like, no, why are you doing this?
The Wedding Ringer? Was that it? The Wedding Ringer?
The Wedding Ringer, yeah.
When Josh Gad doesn't do it for me in a movie, he can kind of ruin it for me, honestly.
Like when he gets too weird with his voice?
Like when he was the dog in Dog's Purpose, or like he was on this show, it was like 1600 Penn or something like that. Not some years ago, and God, he was watching that. I was like, he's the worst. Why is this focused on him so much? And that said created by Josh Gad. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wait, is that the one where he played like the president's son?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was fucking awful.
Yeah, fuck.
I'd forgotten that was him. Okay, so I didn't like him in everything, but generally speaking, I really like him.
No, he can be good.
Like because he's supposed to be this gay character, and he really only is overtly gay in the last couple seconds of the movie.
Yeah.
But throughout the movie, this is the other main issue I have with this movie is that it's done in a very tone deaf way, I thought. Because it's like he's not really, he's not having a relationship with a man other than like his weird hero worship relationship with Gaston, but every once in a while he'll like get weirdly super feminine or get kind of flippy with his hands. Like if I half expected him to like do the snap.
Oh, yeah. He all but does that in a couple of parts in this movie.
And then there's also a different character. There's like these three guys, Tom, Dick, and Stanley from the Gaston song. They kind of keep showing up, and at the end, the Madame Garderobe dresses them all up like women. Two of them run off screaming. The third one's like, "Hooray, this is me!" And then at the end, like, he ends up dancing with the Josh Gad character, and they're like, "Alas, sweet mystery of life." And I feel like it's like, while obviously not mutually exclusive, I felt like the implication was that they were conflating transsexual with homosexual, and that kind of got on my nerves. But they were trying, you know. They were trying.
I did.
You weren't paying attention that closely.
No, but keep in mind, a month ago I watched Glenn or Glenda. I mean, this movie's fine.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. They could have done better.
I mean, it wasn't like. Wasn't there a whole thing about, like, check out Finding Dory? There's two gay characters in it.
Yeah,
it was
for like 2 seconds.
Two extras where it's like, I didn't even know they knew each other. Like, okay, sure.
They were
if you say so,
adjacent to
movie.
the same stroller. Because that's, for most of the movie, I'm like, okay, I wouldn't even know that this character was meant to be gay, except for the fact that I read about it in an article. But then at the end...
In this?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have thought that throughout his entire
He's not nearly as
lispy
lispy as the original of Fu.
Right, it's like, yeah, I would have figured he was gay in this, because I thought the same thing about his character from the original, so, yeah, like, every time Josh Gad did anything in the movie, like, Disney didn't have to tell me they were planning on him being gay, like, that's what it seemed like to me when I was watching this, like, oh yeah, there's LeFou, gay like he was before. And
that was one of the things that they added to this movie that I was happy about, is they made Gaston actually nice to him at most parts. Like, when he's singing him the song, he's not just ignoring him. He's like, hey, you know, thanks for bucking me up, buddy. He's like, hey, nobody bolsters like Gaston. It made their relationship make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't not make sense to me before, but again...
It did not make sense before because it was a cartoon. It's like, yeah, of course this guy would have a doofus sidekick that he treats like shit.
No, yeah, totally. Like, because there's things like you do in a cartoon and things you watch in a live action where they might do the same thing and it'll seem really cheesy when you see it live action.
Or kind of horrifying.
Yeah, and I thought that a few times while watching this, honestly. I was like, I know why some of this was a cartoon. But, look, this movie's gonna do fine.
Yeah, if you're gonna go see this movie, go see it. You know if you're gonna like it or not.
For me, personally, like, if you came away from the trailers not thinking that it didn't look that interesting or needed or anything like that, like, you're probably gonna come out of the movie the same way, in which case I would say just rent the movie, honestly. But, if not, like, if you're already sold on this movie, it's not going to disappoint you.
Was this movie in 3D in places?
Yeah.
Okay, because there were some scenes where it was like, stuff was weirdly closey up and then everything in the background was super blurry and so...
Yeah, there was a 3D screening for it, too. I don't know how good the 3D would have been for it.
Okay, it's coming right at me.
You're a beast!
I'm not a beast.
That's not what the title says.
Matthew, I didn't think did a great job. Matthew, being the... I don't remember his actual name. He was Matthew in Downton Abbey. The guy who played the Beast. Oh,
Dan Stevens.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was fine. But, I mean, I like Dan Stevens a lot.
Should have just gotten Michael Dorn.
Yeah.
Could have been one more black person for them to introduce to the cast. I'm sure he's aged fabulously.
Pray Kevin Kline's not racist.
I pray that every day.
This is it. Like, yeah, he was in The Sunken Place. Oh, sorry, that's from Get Out. It's all in the same universe as Get Out.
I haven't seen Get Out yet.
It's so good.
I'm trying to get out of the house so I can go see freaking Kong Skull Island.
Yeah. That movie was a blast. Nom Kong. Fuck yeah.
Should we do trailers?
Sure.
They were all the kids' movies trailers, so none of them look particularly enthralling. We got a shit ton of them. Transformers Last Nights.
There's a part in that trailer where Mark Wahlberg says, "Go in the other room, little J-Lo."
Yeah. They're trying to, like, appeal to the female audience, I guess, for the Transformers. There's, like, this little, like, sassy girl character, and she's like, they say I fight like a girl, and I'm like, yeah, I do. Face. I still don't care. You killed T.J. Miller.
That's gonna be me and Brian at that, what will probably be a 3-hour film. The fucking last one was like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
At least he got more, like, 100% more Wahlberg and 100% less LaBouffe than the,
Oh, no, I said that about the fourth one. Look, this is so far my favorite of these 4 movies because it's just the simple substitution of Mark Wahlberg for fucking Sam Witwicky made all the fucking difference in the world.
He's the Witwickiest.
Ugh.
Despicable Me 3. That looks dumb.
Oh god, the first trailer for it I thought was fine.
Yeah, because it was about like a 1970s style villain.
The 80s guy,
Gru
yeah.
was like doing battle with him. It's like, alright, it's a little,
and it's Trey
running
Parker.
out of ideas. But it turns out that's like barely scratching the surface of what this movie is about. It's like him and his love interest, the Kristen Wiig character from Despicable Me 2, get fired from the spy agency that they had randomly started working for. Mm-hmm. And so then it turns out that Gru has a twin brother that his mother never mentioned in the other movies, who's like a super billionaire who lives on an island and wants him to start doing crime with him.
So if you thought they were running out of ideas on the first trailer, which was a fine trailer, that's before you saw his twin brother, Drew.
Drew. Who looks just like Gru, but with long, flowing blonde hair.
Illumination can fuck off. Oh, God.
And Agnes is having to, like, sell her stuffed unicorn character, and there was no point to that scene other than to just say, like, hey, remember the unicorn? It's off my way.
It'll probably be me and Allison at that.
Have fun, man. I'm just gonna pretend it's not happening, because I really liked the first one.
Right.
Smurfs Lost Village.
I still don't think that looks that bad, honestly.
It really doesn't. Like, I like that they're not going to the real world in this one.
Thank Christ.
And there's a couple points in the preview that make me laugh. I like that it's got, that guy from 30 Rock, whose name always escapes me.
Jack McBrayer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that, I could get burned bad on that, but, like, it looks better than the other 2 fucking movies.
It's still a kid's movie, you know, but it at the very least looks pretty.
No, it does. I'm glad it's a completely animated Smurf movie, and maybe it'll be fucking trippy as fuck like that Trolls movie was from last year.
Was the Trolls movie good?
It was whatever, but it was really trippy. It was like, if you want to drop acid before watching it, go ahead.
Done and done. That's my weekend sorted.
Exactly. Dave, why don't you come hang out at my place?
Sarah won't stop licking the walls. Yeah. Boss Baby.
Fuck that. Ugh.
Oh, you don't like it?
What you do?
I don't know. Because I thought Storks looked dumb, but Storks I really, really liked. And the baby's kind of cute, and I like the relationship between him and his bigger brother. Mm-hmm. But the premise is super fucking dumb. It's very like cats versus dogs. So I have no idea. I have no idea.
Sold on the Storks trailers. I thought that movie looked really funny. But that was a different company. That was a company where I usually kind of like a lot of their movies. This one is done by, like, Sony's direct-to-video company.
So I shouldn't even bother being intrigued?
Well, I don't know. Like, maybe it'll turn out good. I'm just
I've
going
already
by the
seen
trailers,
several billboards for, like, insurance companies. It's like, Boss Baby says, buy national insurance, you know? So
how would you like to be the person who lost their house because of what a baby on a billboard told
Shouldn't
them?
have listened to that damn baby. They already burned me with the e-shirts, baby.
Yeah.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul.
Why is that happening again?
I don't care.
That looked like shit. That looked like
why does anything happen?
That doesn't mean I have to think it looks good. that fucking... It's a reboot of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies? Sure.
It's originally a book series, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a book series, but it's like this time it's a completely different cast.
Mm-hmm.
And, not that I would have thought it looked good if it wasn't, but, like, it looked like they took the script of that Vacation remake and said, let's make it for kids. They're in mud now instead of raw sewage with needles and severed ears floating around.
Har, har, har. So glad I left the theater for that part.
Don't worry, it was the poster.
Everything, everything. There's the space between us if the space is diseases.
That looks fucking terrible.
It's like Bubble Boy.
Man, like, it's one of those movies, too, where they're like, she hasn't been outside in 18 years. Like, really? She looks great.
Yeah.
She's just been inside posing for magazines for 18 years.
And we've talked about this before, so I'll just barely touch on it. That kid's actively trying to murder her because he wants in her pants. Teenage boys are the absolute worst.
Mm-hmm. It's reverse sex, boy in the plastic bubble.
It's fucking Winter's Tale.
I wish.
He's gonna fuck her to death. Then the horse will come.
Looks like Winter's Tale if it was shot like a direct-to-Netflix movie.
Winter's Tale was kind of shot like a direct-to-Netflix movie.
Winter's Tale had, like, theatrical ambition to it.
Oh, yeah.
That I remember, at least.
Remember that one scene where he fell into the water and then all of a
Yes.
sudden, like, New York City's like, bloop, 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 bloop?
Mm-hmm. We thought he was time traveling. It turns out he wasn't.
Nope, he's just been dicking around for 200 years.
Fuck.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Do you care about this?
I really like I absolutely love the first one.
Me too.
I really like the second one.
I did too,
It's
honestly.
got its moments.
Yeah.
The third one, meh. The fourth one,
Yeah.
was there a fifth one?
No, this is the fifth one.
Okay, so this one, if it comes back to like being the first one levels of goodness, then I'm gonna be super happy.
Same
and
here.
It's got 100% less fucking Orlando Bloom, so that's
I
already
think he is in it again.
Yeah.
Like, I think they bring him and Keira Knightley back. But it's also got that guy who was, like, the Orlando Bloom replacement from the fourth one. You remember that?
I don't.
There was...
I remember, like, all I remember about the fourth one is that they had him swing around in a circle again.
Yeah.
There's like a pirate ship in a cave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they bonked over a pillar at some point.
That's kind of all I remember about it, too. I haven't seen it since we saw it in the theater. Like,
So if we go see the fifth one, we'll have to just rewatch the first one to the fourth one.
fuck that!
In one sitting.
Like, honestly, they're all kind of the same movie, except that the earlier ones are just done better. Like, you probably just need to see one and just pray to God you're watching one of the better ones. I could care less about this, but again, it's like, I don't want it to be bad because I have to sit through it. But it looks bad.
Probably gonna be bad. Johnny Depp just went through a divorce.
Johnny Depp needs some money.
He needs some money. Mm-hmm. Might have could have punched her in the eye though, so I don't really give a shit that he needs some money.
But come on,
Life is complicated.
It could have been worse. You've seen Edward
Could have been worse.
Scissorhands.
He could have punched her in both eyes.
No, he could have been Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands 5.
Where
Dead men have no scissor hands.
All I'm saying is it's a good thing he didn't punch someone while in the Edward Scissorhands
Okay,
costume.
now I get it.
Which, I would love the fact that, like, he's still wearing that 30 years later, just around his house.
You don't tell me how to live my life.
This guy's crazy.
I'll take all the dogs to Australia I want to.
But master, she won't fall in love with you. What a crazy-ass life is he leading?
And then Coco.
Oh, that looks good. The Pixar movie?
It's like his kid, he plays a guitar, and so he wants a different guitar, and he goes to the land of the dead.
I'm just gonna guess between that and Cars 3, that will be the better Pixar movie this year.
Good. Yeah, probably.
Do you remember when we went to go see The Good Dinosaur, and it was me, you, and Dave? And as this has kind of happened once or twice before, sometimes we forget we're in a kid's movie. So the movie ended, and Dave was just, well, that was fucking shit. Like, Dude, Dave!
That was another movie like this where I was like, man, it was fine. You guys were like, fuck this movie.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. That was bad. I didn't like that movie at all.
That dinosaur was so good, you guys. He was like the goodest of the dinosaurs.
I think I did that, like, didn't I do that when we went to go see Romeo and Juliet? Like, it was when we were walking in, and didn't I say, like, I don't know what I said, but it had the
episode. Because I say, I also hated Romeo and Juliet, so...
That movie sucked.
It was not very good. It was not very good.
We weren't even doing midnight screenings when that came out. We just went to go see that because
you had to go see it
stupid?
Because it had Jason Statham in it.
Yeah.
And you announced publicly that you would see any movie that had Jason Statham in it.
I still go by that rule. There was a Romeo and Juliet 2, which I think there was supposed to be at some point.
Was Statham in it?
If he was, I'd have to see it again anyway. But like, yeah, they were at one point they were going to make a sequel to that, and it was called Sherlock Gnomes. I'm not making that up.
Like that seriously made me sad in my heart that you said that.
But why does anything exist?
Why does anything happen? Why? Just so many people were employed by the movie Romeo and Juliet.
This is true.
Made their little livings off of that movie. So you know what? Bless their hearts.
That's why I don't blame Beast for not liking Romeo and Juliet in this movie. He might have seen that version.
He was all like, "Pit." And someone animated the Beast's mouth doing that and then went home and hugged his children.
Yeah. Right. Fine. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm at Belko Experiment. So, yeah, that's what I gotta see tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be the same movie as Beauty and the Beast.
Why did they even need to remake Belko Experiment?
The original was a classic.
Classic Belko.
See it.